What's going on, you guys? I'm Golden, and today we're going to be figuring out if ChatGPT can generate a brand new Minecraft structure. Now, if you've never heard of ChatGPT, it is an insanely intelligent language program that also supposedly knows how to code and do intense mathematics all the way up to, I believe, college level algebra. So it is an insanely smart program. And it's kind of been blowing up everywhere, so I doubt you heard of it, but just a very simple form of what it is. It can do so much more. I recommend checking it out. But today we'll be finding out if it can generate an entire Minecraft structure. Now, rather than coding, or having it code rather, an entire Minecraft structure, I'm going to be giving it prompts and asking it exactly what to do, and we will do exactly as ChatGPT tells us. And it could turn out awful, it could turn out amazing, hell, maybe Minecraft will even put it in a future update, but who knows truly. Anyways, this is purely for entertainment purposes. I recommend going to do it yourself. And if you do enjoy the video, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe, maybe share it to a friend, get it around, and let's get right into the video. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and ask ChatGPT, what type of new Minecraft structure should we make? And it's not giving us a direct answer. It's saying it depends on what kind of Minecraft structure you're looking to make. Here are a few suggestions. We don't want a few suggestions. We want to know 100% one thing that we should build here. But it says medieval castle, modern city, fantasy landscape, and underwater base. Not quite what we're looking for. So we're going to ask again, but in a different phrase. This is kind of an annoying thing with ChatGPT is you have to rephrase some things. Give me one new Minecraft structure to make. And it tells us, how about building a space station? You could create a futuristic structure with multiple modules, including a control center, living quarters, and a laboratory. You could also include features such as a greenhouse, airlocks, and zero gravity areas to make it feel like a real space station. Alright, we've loaded in pretty nicely here. Very nice area, and we're going to go ahead and fly right on up to max build height here, because it's a space station. You don't want to be able to see it too well from the ground. Now, right here we're at max build height, and now I'm going to go ahead and start laying out, the space station itself, do all the really basic building, and I'll probably speed it up by 500x, because I'm sure you guys don't want to see this. It's a very boring part of the build and very hard to commentate over. Alright, now what I kind of wanted to go with here for the whole cockpit of the thing, as you could call it, or the control center as ChatGPT like to call it, I kind of wanted to go for like a Star Trek, Star Wars kind of thing, where you have about 4 different stations for control in the front, and then you have a large captain's chair that kind of controls the entire ship. Now we're going to have the control panel here in the center. I'm just kind of going to give it some lore that kind of controls, the direction the ship is going. The right panel could control temperatures and, thermal output and all that. The left one control the engines, whatever you kind of want to call it. Right now we're working on the captain's chair for it, which obviously is where the alien overlord would sit that's going to take your brains out. I don't know why that it's an alien ship kind of thing that got taken over. I don't know what to call this exactly. It's a space station, but ChatGPT, I don't want to spoil it for you actually. So this is the captain's chair, kind of controls, when the ship goes and when it doesn't. We're going to add some very basic kind of controls in here. As you can see here, I wanted to add in kind of the same chair all around to make it feel more live, but you can't do that without them being insanely far apart. So I went ahead and for the crewmates, gave them some basic chairs to kind of sit in. They'll have back pain later on, but it doesn't really matter. And we have a little microphone there, some buttons, I don't know what they do, some system lighting there, I guess, to show whether or not that system is on or off. And some other very basic controls here. The cockpit, I think it came together very nicely. And this next and final thing we're going to be adding here is a kind of control board, rather. It'll show the, I don't know what it would show, diagnostics or something. It's not actually going to show anything. It's kind of just, this whole thing is kind of just a concept. None of it's going to be actually working, of course. Because that would take forever, and this build alone, actually, you guys are seeing it, and I think I've had to speed it up to like 2000x speed just to get it down to a watchable amount. But the whole build actually ended up taking me around, I want to say, 3 hours. So, a lot of suffering in there, so better like and subscribe, because otherwise all this is for nothing. Yay. Section here is going to be more of the primary or secondary laboratory for smaller projects for the ship, because GPT did say to add a laboratory, so I guess that's what we're doing here. We're going to get some redstone repeaters. I don't know why I got those, but we got some brewing stands, a grindstone, some lightning rods. And actually, I'm thinking of that as a power cell, kind of, just because the RTX pack kind of makes it very nice looking. And we're gonna put some loot boxes in there, of course. And actually, a couple more things. The beacon, actually. Come on, old me. Yeah, there you go. The beacon actually ends up kind of looking like a nuclear core, in my opinion. I think that's very fitting for like a space sci-fi type deal. And then the next thing we're going to go on to here is an airlock right here, and then we're going to get into designing the cafeteria a little bit, is what I decided to do with the center section, which I'm going to be using a old kind of method for creating lunchroom tables. I've used it in old prison maps and kind of stuff on old series that I used to do from like 2017 probably. So probably not a design you see very often, but I personally love it. It uses rails as the table legs, as you can see, and they really do look like cafeteria tables. And then kind of just this over and over again. About 4 or 5 times we do this, and it's very frustrating getting all the rails on there. It takes a good like 10 minutes just to get one table if they don't want to, set up properly. This one alone, I think, took me like 15 minutes. I had to speed it up quite a bit. And it's going to end up looking very bland at the end of this because we just have tables. But I kind of decided to move on from that for a little bit because it was a very annoying process. And we're moving on to the hallway leading out of the cafeteria. This will later house the personal quarters, or I can't remember what it called it. But it'll have that, and then it'll actually lead to the primary laboratory that I decided to add in later. Here is the main airlock to enter and exit the ship. We're going to go ahead and add a gigantic iron blast door on there. And then we're kind of moving on to the whole greenhouse that it told me to build. Very boring kind of process here. I sped it up I think by 2,000 times. As a matter of fact, while I'm doing this voiceover, Premiere Pro can't handle it to the point that it is lagging just trying to load it. It's not even my PC. I have a insanely good graphics card in there, and Premiere Pro can't even load this fast. The whole thing, kind of the base of it, took me, I think, about 45 minutes just to build the basic outline and base of it. So, yeah, it's a very lengthy build with a lot of boring parts here, but I'm fairly happy with how this room came out. We're going to go ahead and add ourselves some gardening and stuff in here. Just really basic stuff, I guess, to supply the ship with food and, you know, needs like that. We're going to go ahead and use Minecraft logic here and say they use the farm as an infinite water source as well, because I mean, ChatGPT, it didn't tell me to add some sort of water refinery, so I mean, I guess this can be what they use for water. And let me mention, this RTX pack, the water in it, amazing. Like, just, it's perfectly clear. It kind of distorts the underneath, just like it would in real life. Absolutely beautiful. We're going to be adding some crops in. We're going to be adding some sugar cane. It looks like some wheat, beetroot, carrots, and potatoes. Of course, I probably should have added more potatoes, to be honest. You know, Technoblade. But kind of the best looking part of the build, in my opinion, because you can see any sort of sunlight coming through. Now, it wouldn't usually have sunlight, of course, because we're going to be out in the dark abyss of outer space with this ship, which I think I forgot to turn it to night to kind of showcase it, but it doesn't matter. You guys can kind of use your imagination on that one there. Here we're going to be adding the storage system kind of for the farm. And, you know, I kind of went with shulker boxes just because I don't really feel like a real futuristic type of place would be using any sort of chests or, like, you know, just wooden chests. I don't feel like they'd be using that. And here we're actually going to be moving on to the personal living quarters. This was actually one of the easier parts of the build because it's such a small room, but the decorations were the really hard parts because I didn't want to add the basic space pods. I kind of wanted to go for a military-esque type feel. You know, maybe this was, you know, an American space station for the Space Force. I don't know. I don't even know what the Space Force is about, to be honest. Because it kind of reminds me of like Star Wars, like we're going to be having, you know, some standoffs in space with Russia or something. But I couldn't decide what to do with the bed, so I just kind of put them onto that wall until later notice. And then we're putting in the showers here. Shouldn't need too many. All right, I think that's enough. All right, yeah. I don't know why I put so many. But we got the lockers there, and the really hard part was kind of figuring out how I want to lay these beds out, because I felt like it looked really plain with all of them just being against the wall, so I was going to put some dividers, but then it was uneven, and they didn't look that great, so I just went ahead and got rid of those. Then I kind of wanted to make some bunk beds, but the beds only face a certain direction when you spawn them in, so I decided to go ahead and put them up against this wall and do some bunk beds like that. Then I realized they were too low, so, you know, got to move them up. And as a final touch kind of to the bunk beds, I wanted to add some ladders, but they kept on getting destroyed, and it didn't register in my mind that I was trying to put a ladder on air. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Very tired during this build, like 3 hours worth of building, all of with the same white blocks. It's very annoying. But we did finally get those ladders in there. And I kind of want to add a kitchen area here. I don't know why. I guess for snacks. But we already had a cafeteria. But this is kind of, I guess, a card playing table. You know, you can play blackjack or whatever here. I don't know. And then I decided it kind of still looks plain. So I wanted to I wanted to go back in here. What are you doing, me? What are you doing? Oh, right. We're adding some lootable shulker boxes right there as kind of like a personal collection. And then I decided to add in some books, you know, some cooking stations, I guess. I don't know why you would need a cooking station in a personal quarters, but whatever. That makes sense. Now we're moving on to the laboratory part of the build here. And this is the primary laboratory where all the big experiments will be going on. Okay, I'm very indecisive it seems, because we're going back into the hallway to place in some lights. Okay, now we're back in the laboratory and working on that. We're going to go ahead and get some of these lights placed in. I love how the sea lanterns look with this RTX mod. Let me know if you want me to link it down in the description or so if you want to download it. But it really does look nice. The only issue is that right there. It'll kind of glitch out a little bit and you got to update the chunk. Or just let it go away after like 20 minutes or so. But it's overall very annoying. And we're going to be adding in some basic science-esque equipment. I completely forgot about Education Edition while I was doing this. But we could have used those kind of blocks. But we're going to have some lab tables right here. You know, a brewing stand with a hopper going into it. I don't know why. That would never work. I don't think you can automatically brew potions like that. But I'll have to try it at some point. And I kind of want to go for a power source for the ship here. And I guess, secondary kind of dark elixir type power source. And I couldn't exactly decide how I wanted to place these just because any kind of blocks around them destroyed the look of it being like a nuclear core. But I decided just to go ahead and have piping running out of it into the ceiling, which looked a little bit less plain. I don't know, I was kind of just going to leave that until further notice. And now we're moving on to kind of the dark power source, which shines a light out of it. Makes perfect sense, Golden. Perfect sense. Dark power source shining light. How does that not make sense? How would that not make sense? Perfect sense to me. But now we're moving on to kind of the basics of it. You know, just some, I guess, pressure plates, redstone stuff in a science lab. I don't know what I was doing here. Yep, that's sciencey. Some redstone, some electrical work. That's real scientific, Golden. But I kind of decided to add in some trapdoors to give it a little bit more depth. Still don't understand why the dark power source is giving off white light. Doesn't make much sense. And I decided to add in some lab tables, but what's that? You didn't think about them not being centered or having enough space in the center. But yeah, so we got 2 lab tables in the middle that I'm sure I'm gonna put some more absolutely ludicrous, ridiculous, non-sciencey stuff there. Ah, yes, everyone knows the best scientific tool out there, the grindstone used for sharpening swords. Yes, everyone knows that. And I guess the sea conduit could kind of be scientific, and so could the brewing potions. Or the brewing stands. A little bit unorthodox, but sure. And yeah, I think that's the entire lab done right there, unless I decide to do some other stupid thing. Oh, and this is the zero gravity part that GPT recommended. I used 2 command blocks. This is the only point in the video that I wasn't actually just borderline stupid. Where I actually used some command blocks to give me a jump boost effect. So, you know, lower gravity, you can jump higher. And then the second one I actually used to give myself a sort of, you know, slow falling effect, if that makes any sense. Now, as you can see here, we have 0 gravity in the cafeteria, which kind of, I guess, makes it feel more like space. I don't know why. Now I'm thinking about it, I don't know why you would need zero gravity in a cafeteria, you know, the place you're trying to eat and drink. Doesn't make much sense to me, but alright. And now we're kind of moving on to some more design, because I felt that the cafeteria was kind of bland. So we're having some piping along the walls, gonna add some paintings in here. Still gonna be depressing as all hell, but yeah, these medieval style paintings might help a little bit. And as it turns out, they actually did help. And I don't think I actually sped this one up at all. Okay, yeah, no, never mind, I did. Or, well, not during the voiceover, but now that you're watching it, it's sped up now. Now I'm kind of adding some extra decorations around the facility. We're going to be adding some stairs to kind of give it a more circular kind of look. I feel like I associate circles with more futuristic, because I feel like if it was just a cube, it would kind of remind me of like a 1940s space station. Just wouldn't fit right. So kind of tunnels make more sense to me. So we're going to do that all around the facility here, including going into the cockpit, which I don't know. I'm not sure. Oh, you know what? I'm realizing now in post. I think GPT may have meant a control station, as in controlling the lights and stuff, like, you know, an electrical station, rather than a cockpit, considering it's a space station, therefore it should not be moving. Great job, Golden. Great job. But as you can see, kind of there, the whole RTX with the greenhouse looks amazing in my opinion. And now we're kind of moving on to. I asked ChatGPT what mobs should the space station have, and it responded with, since the space station is set in an artificial environment, it should have droids, alien creatures, mutant creatures, and that's it. So I decided with all three of these it would be too long in the video if we had droids, aliens, and mutants. So I decided instead we'll kind of go with just aliens in here. I feel like it should only be one kind of race on here, because if you have like that, a huge Lin crab as it's called, things could get a little bit hectic. You know, you have robotic droids and aliens and mutants. It just doesn't make sense on the same ship. It'd be just too chaotic and too much to fight off. But I kind of got the scarecrow looking things, put him in there, and then I spawned this guy, which I'm not sure what was going on with him. So I decided just to go ahead and let him out of there. And no, that's not because the clip was sped up. That's actually relatively close to how fast he flew off when I opened that thing up. I don't know what that thing is. I think it was called a Woolahoo or something. Really weird name. But now I'm gonna put these little goblin kind of guys in the personal quarters and throughout the entire ship. And now I wanted to ask it, what type of loot should the space station have? Now, loot's one of the most important things, because while you want it to look good and have decent mobs, you also want to have some sort of reward. So it gave us advanced technology, rare sources, scientific data, and treasures. Now, treasures are going to be added in a future update. You know, scientific data doesn't matter at all. So I decided we're just going to go with really advanced technology. So I kind of spread that all throughout the ship here. And I think I spent way too long spreading all this throughout the ship here. It took quite a while, and then I forgot actually with one of the boxes that we're supposed to kind of supposed to put some in other shulker boxes. So kind of just ended up filling one of them up completely to the brim. Really, really dumb rookie mistake there. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because we're trying to hit 5K by the end of the year, and it would help out so much if even just like a third of the people who saw this video subscribed and we got like 20 subs. It would still help out tremendously, so please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Maybe share this with a friend. Anyways, peace out, have a great day, and stay golden.